Peace, everybody. A few updates. February 2022, we teamed up with Chino BYI to produce sticker packs and a limited run of signed prints. Hand signed, the print features Chino in the late 90s in the Lafayette Ave station and measures 11 by 17. Both the prints and sticker packs are available only through our Patreon, and we ship out our monthly products to all of our members. The prints and stickers come together while supplies last. We have new members-only interviews out from Dual Risk Crew, Wayne COD, and GS Landlords. Our Patreon members get our monthly products as well as access to our episode library, featuring interviews from Host 18, Cash 4, XSM, Sake, Les YKK, GS Landlords, Dual Risk Crew, and Wayne COD. Patreon members are updated on what's coming next, what episodes we're going to be recording next, and have the ability to ask us any questions on Patreon for upcoming episodes. Patreon members also gain access to members-only episodes of Z and I talking about a range of topics from graffiti to books to mental health to what's going on in New York and the world as a whole. We also have a lower tier membership now that features everything I just stated minus the products that we ship out to all of our members on the OG tier. The link to our Patreon is in this episode's description, our Instagram bio, and our website. Immense thank you as always to everyone who supports the show. Without you, none of this would be possible. Enjoy the episode. Peace. All right, try number 2. Sorry about that shit, bro. But anyways, yeah, like I was saying, I first got really my eyes open to oil painting through you, through an ad in Thrasher magazine forever ago. I saw what I believe is the 3 Fates on Thrasher. I think that was the one. And I was like, damn, like, before I had thought of classical style paintings as just boring subject matter of, portraits of the super wealthy, and just stuff that I had really no interest in. And when I started seeing the way that you approached it, topics of graffiti, topics of just actual cityscape and what's relevant to our lives, but approaching it from that area, it just opened my eyes to that whole entire art world in terms of, that sector of it. How did you get into oil painting?
Through Jesse Edwards, basically. He gave me some oil paint and showed me how to like clean my brushes and stuff like that, and he was the first artist I had ever seen that like skated and stuff, and I had never thought of like artists as being like somebody who was interested in shit that I was interested. You know what I mean? I thought artists were just like dorks who just like, wore berets and wore a smock or whatever. I liked art. I always made it and stuff, but like, and I always knew like that's kind of what I'd end up doing when I was older. But yeah, as far as oil painting goes, Jesse Edwards showed me the ropes. Basically, he didn't show me how to draw or paint anything. He just introduced me to it.
Why do you think you gravitated, let's say, towards oil as one of the primary mediums as opposed to acrylic, pastels, or just the essentially infinite mediums that exist?
I don't know. I just started playing with the oil paint. I like the way it smells. I like the smell of the linseed oil. You can do a lot with it. I mean, you can do a lot with acrylic and stuff too, especially nowadays with like all the different mediums and stuff they have. But oil painting, just like, I don't know, there's something like so old about it, and like, it's just, I don't know why I like it more than other mediums. I just do, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's one of the harder mediums to work with, at least in my experience. Like whenever I've fucked around with it, it's just, especially when you get into doing detailed artwork, just really small shit. Like Jesse Edwards, for example, when he does that house of cards, and each card has literally the detailed image of whatever is going down on it, but you're working with a brush that like the brush itself is fickle, it's soft, it moves easily. It seems like one of the harder ones to work with, but you could essentially create the same image in another way. So that's why it's just like, why that one?
The thing with oil painting is that people don't realize when they're getting into it is that because everybody's like, oh, it doesn't dry, like it takes a long time to dry. That's not really true. Certain colors take longer to dry, but like it almost is the same as working as acrylics, to be honest. like when you let it dry and you work thin and you like paint in layers, that's when you get all like the tricks, you know, like that's when you can get the real details. Just over like you'll make like a pass over something like, and then it'll dry, and then you'll go back and make another pass, and like it completely changes the whole thing, you know. So oil painting's easier than people think. I think they just don't. You gotta let it dry a little bit, I think, in between, you know. I use a lot of burnt umber, and I found that burnt umber like makes all the paint dry faster. If there's even the tiniest speck mixed in with the other colors, they'll dry faster. So it's like almost just like working with acrylics, honestly.
What was the process like of just learning? There's so many. It's not like you just pick up a pencil and you start drawing. There's like, what is it like? There's the rules like lean on fat or just a bunch of things. There's different techniques of you just do it all in one sitting, like alla prima. There's the painting from life itself, which is a whole another thing. Yeah. How'd you learn all this shit?
Just practice, trial and error, like just, you know, reading books. And I never actually had any oil painting classes. I took drawing classes for a while, which taught me how to like draw the classical like approach to drawing, you know, which I mean, it stood the test of time and it works. And there's different ways, there's different approaches to drawing and painting, and I try to just use it as much of it as I can, you know, like it just kind of whatever approach I need to take in that moment is like the way that I go with it. Like whether it's like an alla prima painting, like where it all has to be done at once, or whether I started with like a really detailed drawing and then like do a super finished underpainting. Like it all just depends on the painting itself, how much time I have to work on it, you know. Like there's like a few different factors that go into like the different methods that I'll use, because there's just so many different ways, you know what I mean. Like you can, there's like you said, like there's a direct like alla prima method, and then there's like building it up with like glazing for like years. People like the Mona Lisa, he worked on for like 8 years or something like that. Like I don't know.
Do you think that actually makes a difference? Like do you always do an underpainting? Do you always do a drawing under it beforehand? Do you always do glazing?
No, like I said, it all depends. Like for something like really personal that I've been like putting a lot of thought into, those paintings, that's when I'll like go and I'll do like the really involved drawing and all the prep work and stuff. But then like, you know, sometimes I just want to go out and like I'll go paint a painting in like an hour, you know, like of like, you know, under the overpass, or like a portrait of like a homie, you know, like those paintings need to be done like right away. Yeah, it just depends on like what painting I'm working on, I guess.
How important would you say drawing is to someone who's trying to do this type of work? I'm not sure if it was you, but in some interview, I'm pretty sure it was you saying how like you draw every day and it's one of the most like essential foundations for being able to do this type of work.
As far as yeah, I loosen up sometimes, you know. I don't always feel like painting in like the traditional like French traditional manner, you know, but yeah, as far as that type of work goes, like drawing is like the most important thing. I haven't been drawing as much as I should. Like I used to go to like figure drawing classes and like stay sharp and stuff, and it like if I was to go back and like try drawing the figure again, I'd be rusty, you know what I mean? You lose it if you don't like keep up with it, you know. But every day I have to work on a painting or something, and there's an amount of drawing involved in that, like anyways, you know. So kind of is drawing every day.
Yeah,
not with pencils.
We talked off air a little bit about it, but you said you've been painting like every single day recently. Do you ever feel like these commissions and deadlines like stress you out to the point where you don't even want to paint anymore? Like, do you ever feel like you just need a break, or how does that work with like your passion and like wanting to do it, you know?
The biggest issue is not having time to work on stuff I want to work on, you know? Like, I have my own paintings I want to do. Like, I don't want to be known as a portrait painter, like, that does pets, you know what I mean? But, like, that's how I make my money. So it's just when I have like a bunch of money, and I can chill out and work on my own stuff. That's really nice. But the pet portraits, especially around Christmas time, like now, like I'm sick of them. I don't want to do any more right now.
Yeah, like how is that? It's always interesting to me when I talk to people who make their living in really unconventional ways. How did you manage to make this your full-time job? And how is that lifestyle of, like, let's say you don't sell enough paintings, because it's totally just probably fluctuates, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's really hard. It's been probably almost 9 years now since I've had a normal job. And sometimes, yeah, I like literally like have nothing, no money, like no food. It's fucking really rough sometimes. But other times, like, I'll have like a bunch of money, have my rent paid off, life's good. It's just like feast or famine. But every year it gets a little better, I feel like.
You ever thought of like, oh, maybe I should get a part-time and then I'd be able to be more comfortable and also paint, or?
Yeah, occasionally, but like, I hate working. I'd rather just struggle because I'm so used to it now. I've been doing it for so long, like, I enjoy my life. Even when I'm hungry and shit, I figure it out, like,
So what is your work process like? How many hours a day do you paint? What is it like? You're like on some, like, you wake up and then you do this. How do you do it?
That also varies like a lot depending on how much work I have to do. But like I was just talking to him earlier, I was saying like probably my average work day is like 4 hours a day, I'd say. Sometimes I'll work longer. Sometimes I'll paint for like 15 minutes and I'll be like, oh, I don't feel like painting right now, But yeah, generally I'll come work for like 4 hours, and then at home I'll draw and stuff too sometimes, and but yeah, when I'm busy, like, I'll be in here painting all day long, like sun up till sundown. Like if I have a deadline or something, I just, it all depends.
Mm-hmm.
But I always have to be working on something though. Like if for some reason I'm having like a dry spell, like I start going nuts. Like I get mad, like I'll be all aggro, and I mean not like aggro, but I get moody, and I just feel like I need to be working all the time.
How long does a painting like the Three Fates take you? And also, what the size of that? It's like, is it like, for example, how big is that painting?
That painting is 4 feet high by 5 feet wide, and that painting took me, I think, 3 months. But that's like from conception to like finish, 'cause like that one I put a lot of preparatory work into. Like I had a model that I used and did like tons of drawings and like studies and stuff, and like I like the original location of where it is, like the background, like the setting of it is off in an alley off Market Street in San Francisco. But it was steps, and I changed the steps into like a loading dock type of thing that they were sitting on. But yeah, there was a lot of preparatory work in that. The actual painting itself, like once I got everything ready to go, and I made like a big drawing that I transferred. I went full old school like approach to that one. Like I did the whole like what I did, like they used to do this thing where they would pounce it, they'd put little holes like along it, and then they would pounce it, and like the dust would go through and it would like create a transfer. But the way I did it is I rubbed the whole back of the drawing with like a red chalk, and then I traced over it and it transferred it onto the panel. And then so yeah, I spent a lot of time with just like nitpicking like every little like step.
So you draw it onto a huge paper, then you take the paper, you turn it around, and then you rub that shit onto the canvas so that the dust of the graphite gets on the canvas.
Yeah, rub it onto the back of the paper, and then put it against the canvas, or in this case it was a panel, so a wood panel, and then I trace over that, and then it the pressure makes the mark, and it just transfers it, which is just like another old technique that I had never used that technique before until that one.
So what was the deal with why that location?
I don't know. I was just out painting. I had done like a little sketch, kind of the idea of the painting, and I was like, okay, now I need to go figure out like where I'm gonna, like what setting I want to make for this painting. So I just like skated around and found that spot, and it was like, just looked like how I wanted it to look. So I just used that spot.
And what exactly is the three face? That's like when I googled it when I saw your painting. Mm-hmm. It's from Greek mythology, right?
I think so. Yeah, it's Greek, and it's God, it's been a long time since I read about it. But it's the whole thing is about like life and death, and you have like, I think her name's like, I forget her name. I want to say Chloe or Clothos or something. I'm gonna butcher it, but anyways, she's like the main one who like spins the thread of life or whatever, and then another one like measures it and sees how long you live, and then the third one like cuts the string.
Yeah.
So it's the three fates. It's just like an allegory for like life and death, pretty much.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that one has like the graffiti in the background from like all my friends or not all my friends. There's people on there like I didn't know. Like I threw up Ty and shit, and I never met him. But like a bunch of friends and like graffiti people who had passed away up until that point. I mean, there's been so many more now since then. But
and some of them were less well known, right?
Yeah, probably.
Like I know some of the names on the back.
Yeah, like like Evans, he's like an old 3A dude from Seattle. Like unless you're like old Seattle head, you wouldn't know who that guy was, And like Cade, same deal. Like there's like a few friends and stuff that maybe people wouldn't have recognized, but
in making some shit like that, is it harder to do it than from life because the situation literally doesn't exist?
What do you mean?
Like when you're making a painting like the Three Fates, you can't paint that from life because the situation just doesn't exist. The tags aren't even there, but you have to make the light, like let's say the lighting effect that you paint into it look realistic, as if the tags were on that like cement, or those ladies are not there. You're essentially just making this up from sheer imagination, or like the one of I think it's Andrew Reynolds frontside flipping the Hollywood High stair set, and there's mad woods in the back. Those woods aren't there, or the bowl, and then the cityscape in the background. Like that situation also doesn't exist. But a lot of these classical paintings that are famous, that situation didn't exist. It's like a theme from some religious story or some shit like that. What do you think the difference is between painting some shit like that as opposed to painting something from life or a painting of a dog that does exist?
You have to have like a understanding of nature, really, like anatomy. If you're painting figures, you really have to know like proportions and anatomy and stuff, and you just have to understand like light, like painting from the imagination. Like I prefer doing it just because it's fun. It's like way more like interesting to try to like solve a problem, rather than just copying what you see. But that's also satisfying too because like it looks more real, But yeah, like it's good to be able to try to do a little bit of both, Like I think it was Ang who said, look at your drawing like equally as much as you look at the figure. Like don't rely so much on the figure, like look at what you're drawing and like make your drawing good, Is that kind of what you meant?
Yeah. It's just crazy for me to like be able to think of that. Like if I were to try to paint like a sunset right now, like something super fucking simple, like ocean, sky, sunset, clouds, I don't think I would be able to imagine it to the point where I could make it look even somewhat realistic. Like there would be something drastically wrong with the proportions or how my eyes would see it in real life. So to make up some crazy shit like the one of the soldiers exploding, that's next for me. That's next level because it just requires so much more imagination, or like you said, understanding of nature that I just don't have.
I mean, I feel like everybody has it in them. It's just you gotta just exercise that like muscle, I guess, maybe. Or I don't know. I just I have a very vivid, like, pictorial memory. Like I can, like, see shit, like, how it is, you know what I mean? Like when I'm painting, like, a figure out of my head, like, I can see it in my head, you know what I mean? And I thought everybody had that.
Meaning, like, for example, like the explosion?
Or, yeah, like, just, yeah, that one, I painted all of that from my imagination. That one was, like, and I spent a lot of time on that one, too. I did, like, studies and stuff for that one.
How was it in art school? Do you think art school is necessary? I know you went to art school in Seattle and SF, right?
Yeah, the one I went to in Seattle was, like, it was more of, like, it was an atelier program. It was, like, it wasn't accredited, you know, like, I didn't get, like, a BFA or anything for going there or anything, but they ended up kicking me out anyways. I never finished the program. But and then I went to San Francisco Art Institute, which I never graduated or anything. I left early, but and I learned a lot. I didn't learn much about painting at all, but I learned a lot about, like, you know, art history and, like, more modern art, because I hadn't really studied modern art that much before that. I was just into what I was into, you know. I would, like, go rack books about, like, you know, French painters and shit like that. For some reason I was just drawn to that. And but yeah, going to Seattle, San Francisco Art Institute opened me up to it actually made me kind of, like, less interested in art. It kind of bummed me out, honestly.
Why is that?
Just, like, I don't know. It just, like, lost its, like, mysteriousness or something. But I think that's part of what art school, like, it's necessary. It kind of, like, it kills a lot of people's spirits, you know? I feel like art school, it's hard. Like, people can't handle critiques and stuff. A lot of people quit, you know? I think art school is, like, it's definitely not necessary, but people can benefit from it as an artist, you know, for sure.
Why did you leave?
My girlfriend graduated, and because she was already going there before I was, and she wanted to move to New York, so I just quit and we moved to New York.
If you were doing it all over again, would you go to an art school? Is that even necessary? Like, I assume that there you really learn what the steps are, all the traditional methods, exactly how it is, as opposed to just kind of trying to interpret it yourself from a book, or self-taught is a whole different story.
Yeah, I mean, the school I was at, they would not focus on the type of painting I was into. It was way more, like, open. It was conceptual stuff, you know, like, nobody was there talking about, like, technique or anything like that. Fuck, I lost my train of thought, sorry.
No, it's all good, bro.
What was the question again?
It was just like, would you go back and do art school over again?
Oh yeah, totally, yeah. I had a lot of fun, especially San Francisco Art Institute. Just the campus in general was, like, really cool. Like, it was beautiful. It had a view of the whole bay, like Alcatraz. It's in North Beach, like, down at the bottom of the hill. I loved it there. I had a lot of fun. Met a lot of cool people.
I just know so many kids in New York, especially, like, skateboarder friends of mine, photographers, videographers, and they go to art school and they spend so much bread.
Oh,
and then
that aspect.
They get out and they like can't make a actual living off of it, and it just seems like, to me, from an outsider's perspective, like a losing game.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. No, from that whole angle, yeah. Fuck art school, yeah. Like, I haven't paid them a dime. Like, I owe so much money. I haven't answered any type of email or call about it. Like, yeah, they're. Someday maybe I'll pay it. I don't know, but as far as the money issue goes and the debt, yeah, it's not worth it. No.
So you haven't. When did you graduate? When did you leave art school?
When I moved to New York, 2016, I think. Yeah, I went from 2014 to 2016. I had, like, 1 year left and one class that I had to make up, and I would have graduated. I would have got a BFA, but.
Would that have been worth anything? You know what I'm saying? Like,
if I wanted to teach, I think. If I wanted to be a teacher, yeah.
Because you still get commissions, you still make your living off of art, so what does the BFA have anything to do with it?
Yeah, nothing. If you want to teach, yeah, I think it looks good to have that, but Or yeah, I don't know.
So what do you think about in terms of making a living off of art and just having to do these portraits that seem to be like not 100% what you're about and all that shit?
What do I think about it?
Yeah, like
I'm happy. I'd rather be doing this than washing dishes at some restaurant, you know. And like I said, every year things get a little better. You know, I get more and more work, and you know, just life becomes a little bit easier.
how do you get work? Do you just get it through word of mouth, or people hit you up on Instagram?
Yeah, just mostly through friends and like contacts and stuff like that. You know, but right now I do really just want to like work on my own stuff, though. I need a break from the pet portraits for sure.
What does that entail? Like, I know you said like you're busy with commissions right now, but your own work, what is your visions with what you want to create nowadays? Like, what have you been inspired by, or like what goes through your mind when you want to approach like a new project right now?
I have a lot of shit written down, like little notes and stuff, like ideas for paintings I want to do, and usually I'll refer back to all those notes and stuff. And they're all so different too. Like, I don't want to box myself into a corner of like subject matter and stuff like that. I want to just be able to paint like whatever I feel like painting, you know. And yeah, it's as far as like ideas of like what I want to paint. Like, if I had all the time in the world, a lot of it would just probably be outside, like painting stuff outside. I got like tons of notes and stuff written down like in my phone and in sketchbooks, and like little thumbnails of like paintings and stuff I want to do that are just like backed up that I just hope I can get to someday.
No, because doing your own work is like, you don't really have a deadline. You don't have that like lingering in the back of your mind that you have to like rush or finish or stay extra. If you're tired, you're tired. Like, you just stop and do it the next day, like you said, 15 minutes later. Like, because I know a girl, she's really talented at airbrushing, and she does a bunch of commissions too, and it's just completely draining her. It's like depriving her of her passions, because she always has to like finish this, and she gets stressed out, and like something doesn't work, she has to stay later. But at the back of her mind, she wants to release that passion on her own stuff, on her own company, on her own brand, like stuff that matters to her, you know what I mean? Because she could just take her time.
It's the money issue, you know. And you know, maybe having a part-time job would open up more time to work on my own shit, but I'm gonna try to figure it out a different way.
Do you sell the ones that are your own shit?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like.
Are there any that you're just like, nah, I'm just straight up not selling this one because it's like I need to have it
Personal?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I actually just sold one of them because I really needed the money, because my fucking van broke down and I needed to like fix my van, and I sold one that I had done in Oakland. It's on my Instagram. It's like a windowsill with all the plants, and there's like an iguana like with the window and stuff. Yeah. That one, I loved that painting. That was kind of a personal painting to me, but I sold it to a close homie, so it's not that bad. But yeah, I got some works and stuff. Like, there's works at my mom's house that I would never sell, and, you know, stuff like that.
What's the deal with like you getting into graffiti, and how that, like, what did you get into first? Graffiti, well, graffiti was before oil painting, right? Because you were tagging at that ball.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get into it and all that?
Just, you know, like anybody else does, I guess. You just see it and you're like, you want to do it too, and you just start doing it, and then you meet other people that do it, and then you're just like sucked into that world. And that's kind of what happened to me. Like, I moved to Seattle, and from Port Orchard, which was like just an hour away from Seattle, like there wasn't much graffiti out there. Like, I had started doing it already out there, just I didn't know anything about it though. Like, I was making stencils and shit like with my skater friends, and we had our like little skater crew and shit like that, and we were doing little stencils, and that's kind of where it started. And then I moved to Seattle and like met other people who tagged and at the skate park and stuff like that, and then like just changed my whole life from there. Just ruined my life. Pretty much, yeah.
That's interesting. So you think, I mean, without graph, you probably wouldn't have discovered oil painting.
Yeah, no.
At least not through the same avenue for sure.
No, yeah, graffiti, like, it's interesting how many, like, I wouldn't have any of friends I have now if it wasn't for graffiti. Like, it's crazy how that like, such a weird, like, thing opens up so many doors for people, you know?
Do you think that the imagery you focus on with your personal work would be different if it wasn't for graffiti and that kind of, like, I don't know, say like raw lifestyle or like the people you met or the influences? Do you think you would have focused on different type of imagery in your work?
Totally. Yeah, I'd probably paint like animals or something.
Well, what was it that like, because a lot of people who write graph, it becomes their straight up main thing in life. They're straight like their job 24/7 for a lot of them, as opposed to you. Like, it seems like oil painting's your main shit. Why do you think that it is that way? Why do you think that it is oil painting the thing that all encompasses your life as opposed to painting graph?
I never understood why, like, how, I mean, I'm not knocking those who do it, like, but when people, like, make money off their graffiti name, it's like you lose your, like, one of the things I love about graffiti is, like, the anonymity or whatever, like, being secretive, kind of, and, so that, like, trips me out is when people are, like, they're like, fuck it, like, I'm just gonna make money off it, but that's cool, too. I just try to keep it separate. Graffiti to me is, like, it's not for me to, like, try to, I don't know, I never was really a graffiti artist either. I like tags,
If you were like profiting off it in any way.
Yeah, like, I mean, I would. I'm not, like I said, I'm not knocking those who do it. I just, like, I don't know. Oil painting and graffiti to me are, like, completely different. They're, like, graffiti to me is not art. Like, it is by just because it is, but I don't look at it as that, like, when I'm doing it,
Yeah. It seems to me like graffiti and oil painting, for example, is like oil painting something you do in the daylight, kind of people know your face, like what you're about, your name, and then graffiti is kind of like this vigilante that just like goes out at night, that's like mysterious and like it has nothing to do with the oil painter if you want it, essentially to be that way. It's pretty sick to have that kind of like identity in the
I mean, you definitely, when you think of like a fucking classical oil painter, you do not think of a graph writer.
Yeah.
It's two totally different, like you said, dude in a beret, dude with like painting some French guy in a ginormous castle.
Yeah,
whereas
that's like when I met Jesse and, like, I helped him carry in a fucking one of those little red radio flyer wagons, like, we, like, carried a shitload of his paintings up to this cafe, like, when I had first met him, and, like, I helped him hang them up in the cafe, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like, this guy sells his paintings. He's my skater friend from the skate park. Like, he's an artist, like, who sells paintings. Like, shit blew my mind. Like,
I honestly think it's like the sickest shit ever.
Yeah, it's just like, it's just a change. Like,
Some of his videos on I don't know if it's his channel or it's like someone's channel on YouTube, where he's like slinging paintings. He's just like selling paintings to random dudes, talking shit to random dudes. It's on like Canal Street or like at Painting Passion. Yeah, and then another one, he's like, "Yo, we're gonna figure out what we're painting today." Goes down the street, racks or like the bong, runs back, paints that shit in like some place probably like down the street.
Dude, how did those things not go viral?
I don't know, dude.
That is like the sickest shit ever.
Or like the one where fucking, it's like dude sneaks into his like Katsu sneaks into his apartment on this oil painting that he's been working on for a minute, and then just tags the skull over the shit, and then jumps out the window, or he shoots him or some shit like that. Like, he ends up shooting him. Like, it's.
I think a bunch of people got shot in that one.
Yeah, no, he was just shooting everybody. Yeah. It's definitely not what you think of when you think of like a classical oil painter.
Yeah, no, Jesse. He pioneered the whole change in the game, I think.
For someone who wants to be some shit like that, how do you go about it? Do you just give up? It's because it seems like to me like, all right, I just give up every other facet of my life and full-fledged in this, and if I suffer in poverty sometimes, I suffer in poverty sometimes, and that's the end of that.
I don't know, man. It's this sort of thing, like this situation that, like myself and probably I haven't talked to Jesse in like a couple weeks. I don't know what he's up to right now, but it's not an easy life, and I don't think either one of us like planned to like end up in this situation. Like, it's just, for me personally, like, it just comes down to like I have to paint, like it's what I do. Like, I'm not happy doing anything else, so it's like this is as good as it's gonna get until it gets better, you know. And yeah, I mean, I'm happy. Life's chill.
Do you feel any type of release when you're painting? Do you feel like it's like a meditative process for you?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I zone out, and I just 90% of the time when I'm working on a painting, I'm not even thinking about what I'm doing. I'm like, my mind's just elsewhere, and I'm just like kind of just on autopilot, and then yeah, at the end of the day, like I feel accomplished. Like I've been working, because painting is the only thing like that when I'm working on it, that I feel like I'm not wasting my time. Like I'm doing exactly what I need to be doing. Like it never feels like, it always feels good. You know what I mean? And I can't say the same about like graffiti. Like graffiti, it doesn't make me feel good. It really doesn't. Like, I'm sure it makes some people feel good, but it's like, sometimes it's just something I have to do. Like, I like graffiti, I like looking at it, but like at next day, like I like wake up, I don't feel very good. I'm like, fuck, what did I do? Like, god damn it. Like, I hope I didn't tag on somebody's, like, you know, somebody's store.
You're getting people pissed, essentially.
Yeah.
Like you are.
Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't feel good, but it has to be done, I guess.
So like when you finish a painting, or even just when you're making progress on it, you think of an idea, you do an underpainting, you do the sketch that you rub onto the canvas, that shit like essentially gives you so much fulfillment that it doesn't even matter that you're sometimes living in poverty, and then like it doesn't matter.
Nah. And you know, like, there's people out there who got it way worse than I do also, you know, so I'm thankful for what I got, for sure. But yeah, when I'm working on a painting, I don't care about anything.
Do you feel that way? Oh, go ahead, bro.
No, I was just gonna say real quick, yeah, just how people have it worse than you got it. There's also people that have it, you could say, materially better than you have it, but they're not happy at the end of the day because they are not creating something with passion. Absolutely, you know, they have all the money in the world, but how many people are addicted to drugs and just suicide and like all that shit, and they have what you would say success, or, you know, like everything in life that you could imagine, but, you know, like a spot like this, you know, I mentioned it earlier, like it does seem therapeutic because it seems like you're just like in the corner of the world, like you're in your own space. Like, I picture you sitting here in silence doing this, and like no one in the world.
Got some music going.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying like no one in the world is like bothering you, like in your own space. You know what I mean? It's really sick.
This is, yeah, like, it's funny because I mean the studio is so small right here, but it is like a little sanctuary for me. I look forward to coming here in the morning.
Yeah, when you come here, you feel at peace.
Yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, and then I don't want to go home.
No, it's like, dude, it's straight up. It seems to me like I've had a battle with this shit internally for a minute. Like, what is more valid in terms of just like my general life path? Should I be doing some shit where like I can, let's say, support a family, support myself, and make, let's say, the others around me happy because they have more respect for me or whatever? Or should I do some shit where like I have my place where when I wake up, I'm actually hyped to go there. I'm actually looking forward to it, and I can zone out and feel at peace. Maybe not even zone out, but just like even just being in the moment and feeling at peace, as opposed to fucking like everyone else is happy but me. I'm going to some place where it's a shithole in my eyes, and I'm just pissed the fuck off. Yeah. Like, which one's more valid? It seems to me like the one where I'm happy is more valid.
It's a no-brainer.
It seems like a no-brainer,
Yeah.
dude. But like, is it though? Because everyone else, like the majority of society, I'm saying, doesn't take that route. They take like the security of like the finance. But it's not that hard to be all right, like have a roof over your head and food and follow your passions. And I hate to say that because like I'm almost speaking from like a place of privilege, because you know, we're all privileged in some regard, but it's like dude, how fucking hard is it to have a roof over your head, food, and then all your passions? Like, dude, like, it's not that hard. Even if you like don't have a fucking bank account and can't open a credit cards and like aren't paying fucking San Francisco Art Institute or the Seattle Art Place like your money, like you're still valid. Like take away the online money, because it is online. Like it's just numbers on the screen that are changing. Like
Yeah.
you as what you do in your day-to-day life is seemingly valid. You know. So, dude, like also, you lived in New York. You lived in all over California and Seattle. What's up with like just moving and all that stuff? And which place do you prefer?
That's a good question. Yeah, I've lived all over the place. Like even since a little kid, like people ask me where I'm from, I don't even know what to say. Like I was born in San Diego. I moved to Washington when I was 5, and then like jumped around Washington like a bunch, you know. Yeah, I just feel like, and I've never been out of the country. I don't even have a passport, which is crazy. It's like, so I'm just like Mr. America, I guess. But yeah, where do I like most? Miami keeps jumping out at me because like I love Miami, but also at the same time it's like Miami's lacking a lot. Like, have you spent much time there?
I've been there a few times, but I definitely haven't spent like even 1 week there.
Yeah, I love Miami, but it's like going to New York or LA or something. Like it's just there's just way more popping, so much more going on. It's like feels like it's older, like there's more history. It's more Miami like seems more like a giant resort to me or something. Like it's like newer and it's like everything. It's like trying to like do all this stuff when everywhere else it's just like it's already like been there. But I really am liking LA. I've been here since February, so like almost a year now. And yeah, I like LA a lot.
Do you think it makes any difference to your process of oil painting? Like, in my eyes, like, oh well, if sometimes like you can't sell paintings or sometimes this or sometimes that with money, why would you live in a place like LA or New York? Like especially New York, yo, like Williamsburg. I hear of artists who I'll be talking to, and they're like, I need a big space, especially if I'm doing like oil paintings or sculptures, or not that you're doing sculptures, but why a place that the rent is so high?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe the access to like all the fancy restaurants and shit. I don't know. Like it. Yeah, because I asked myself that too. Because I lived like in the middle of nowhere, Florida, for a year and didn't talk to anybody barely. You know what I mean? I had no friends out there. Like, and it was awesome. It was like super chill. I got a lot of work done. Like I still like was making money. Like still in contact with like my friends in New York and stuff like that. And so I don't think you have to be like in those expensive situations to like get shit done. You know what I mean? But yeah, then at the same time, there's like no. It's like you want to be by all the poppin' shit. You know what I mean? So I think that's where it comes down to. You know, just being like where it's poppin'.
Are you the kind of person who? Because it seems like you just kind of do your thing. You just kind of like you said, you're in Miami, in the middle of nowhere, Florida. You don't give a fuck if there's your friends or your friends in New York or you're in this. This is like, to me, kind of like the middle of nowhere where we are right now. Like this is like in the cut, dude. Like this is like in the middle of nowhere. It seems like your personality, is it the kind where you need all that shit or?
Like people around me and shit?
Yeah, and just like the vibrancy of New York of like, boom, this is happening here, this art show tonight, this event here, mad people in the street. Like, does it, because I see like some of the paintings you do, they have to do with like city life and just all that shit. Does it have any effect on that, or do you even need that to be happy, you as a person?
I feel like maybe not so much the social shit, but like I need like the really gnarly like grime of the city as much as I need like pure nature, you know what I mean? So I like gotta get both, you know. So I don't feel I feel like the reason I bounce around so much is because I'll kind of get sick of somewhere, which isn't a good thing, you know what I mean? You should be happy like with wherever you're at, but like I just am always like I'll get tired of something and I'll need something else. Like I feel like that happens a lot. But yeah, the social situation I definitely don't need. It's more of like the environment, like the Like, I mean, I love my friends and stuff like that, but we'll still be friends if I don't talk to them for a year. You know what I mean? I don't need, like, a lot of people, like, I feel like they need, like, that. They need the social dynamic to survive, to, like, feel accepted or something like that. I definitely don't. Like, I have friends because of, like, just, you know, I accumulated my friends naturally. You know what I mean? So, I don't know.
No, that's what it seems like. It's like on the individual, you know what I mean? Like their standards of life and like what they value more than like what they prioritize, you know what I mean? Because that can cause a ripple effect. If you always need to be around people, if you're like social media is very high, like you always need noise and stuff, that goes into you having to pay more rent, the location, like all that stuff, and it like
it seems like a high stressful lifestyle to care that much.
No, it's a lot of maintenance, you know what I mean? Maintenance for like paying rent, maintenance for like always being around noise, and then like you don't have time for yourself. That's what it seems like if you're always in the mix, you know what I mean? So it's sick that you understand this, and like you know what to prioritize, and like you know you value, and you can have the balance, like you said, like the rugged city, which is very rugged out here, and
Dude,
nature.
It's fucked out here.
Yeah,
it's like really fucked out here, bro. Like it's way worse than New York. This is my first time really being out here. I came here a few years ago just for skating, but I guess the areas I was in last time, like I didn't even see graph last time.
Really?
And I was like, yo, is there even graph in LA, bro? Like I see it online, but when I went there, like I didn't see anything. But I guess I was just in the wrong places, because this time, like it's pretty. There's graph all over the place, and it's just a straight up like, it's like cooked, bro. The city's cooked. There's people all over the place sherming out. And they have that in New York, but not like
it's
this.
It's more in your face here.
It's more in your face. The tent cities are really...
Whole West Coast.
Dude, you should do a painting of fucking mad tent city.
Oh, dude, I have, like... That's, like, when we were talking about, like, plans of paintings, like... I want to just take my van and go, like, live in Skid Row for a week and just, like, paint, like, every day down there.
Dude, that would be the best.
Yeah, there's LA's got a ton of good shit, like, to paint as far as that goes. And you know, like... That's another thing is, like... I'm not painting, like, I don't want to paint the tents because, like, it's beautiful to me. Like, when you see it, like, you can see the beauty in it, right? Like, I don't know.
No, it's wild because, like, it's just funny, the balance, the opposites that are in these cities, you know what I mean? Like, they're building these new buildings where rent is, like, insane. Everything's, like, so clean and cut. At least that's what they're trying to make it. And right outside is, like,
Dude, some of Skid Row, the buildings were straight up...
No, they're brand new.
Some of the buildings were new.
Yeah.
There's a police station there, dude. And no cops anywhere.
No, it's like overrun by tents, yeah.
It's crazy. And you guys were just up and down the West Coast, so you saw, like...
I mean, last time last trip we went on, which the episodes are coming out, like, now, and now it's, like, December. But it was, we went from New York to Seattle, did Arab lunch, then we drove down to San Diego. So we went boom, boom. And then now this time we just went boom, all like from New York to San Diego, LA area. And yeah, I've never seen, I mean, SF for me was like the last time I went there years ago just for skating. And fucking, that was like the worst I've ever seen anything. Or the worst, like meaning like the most wild.
Like the TL?
Yeah, dude. That seems like it would be like have like a plethora of things that you could use as subject matter.
Oh yeah, I lived in the TL for at least a year, and I made a lot of paintings there. They sold immediately. Like, my friends would snatch those up because they were just like, there's so much good stuff out there, especially like in the summertime when everybody's out. Just like, it's like, I love it.
Yeah, dude. Thank you so much for letting us into your sacred space.
Hell yeah, no problem.
And thank you again, bro, for being on the show. Like I said, I'm not kidding, yo. Like when I saw your shit on Thrasher, like it had a big impact on me. I've been like seeing your paintings. Then it's funny because I saw Jesse Edwards after yours, but I found his stuff through your stuff, and it just like really inspired me and got me hyped. So thank you for being on the show.
Hell yeah.
No,
thank
dude,
you.
Seriously, thank you so much, man. In terms of like moving around and stuff, yo, fuck that debt. Let them find you, bro.
Yeah. How are they gonna find you here, bro?
Yeah,
Impossible,
yeah,
dude.
exactly.
Your name's not on this fucking lease.
Yeah, exactly.
They're never gonna find you ever.
Bro, fuck the machine. We got this.
Peace.